Hi, this is a poem from a long time ago, circa 2006, and it's called Little Stevie. Little Stevie is mad at me again. I admired Little Stevie's earlier poetry, which contained equal parts humor and insight. I had told Little Stevie of my admiration for his work. Maybe, I hope silently, we could be colleagues and or friends. Little Stevie nodded politely, but he hoped the needy man would just go away. As the years went by, I started to speak out of turn when I thought poets were being rude and or patronizing to others of their kind. And sometimes I would be critical when little Stevie was eager to defend the exalted status quo of poetry, no matter how hurtful they could be. Little Stevie stayed in control because control was and is a big thing with him, and silently prayed for poor nonconformist me to go away. Once in a while, little Stevie would take an interest in me, but this was only when I was apologetic or acknowledged his wisdom or asked him about his idols, Frank Zappa and William Blake, or if I wrote a poem that read like a poem other poets would write. And then I would ask on stage why little Stevie would pose for an expensive vanity photo, and I would see that when he was visibly punched down, dismissive towards other poets he considered not well adjusted enough, talented enough, or too outspoken for him. But at the same time, I'd be awake at night asking my wife, what could I do to make little Stevie truly respect me, even if he doesn't agree with me? And my wife would tell me he doesn't seem to let too many people get close to him. Besides, you shouldn't be surprised when people aren't happy to be on the other end of your critical remarks. Once in a while, there'd be a sort of detente where I'd wish little Stevie the best and he'd seem genuinely happy and sincere. But I couldn't stop being critical of bad poet behavior. And little Stevie couldn't stop catering to the whims and vanities of the status quo, who barely, actually, rarely, if ever, bothered to attend his weekly reading in the San Fernando Valley. To top it off, little Stevie's poetry became less amusing and interesting than it once was. He neglected everyday humanity for conscious art. When I pointed it out, little Stevie flew into a controlled rage and said there was nothing wrong with his poetry. And true to form, he said he never wanted to see or hear from me again, but it was my choice whether or not to carry out his devout wish. This reminded me of the division supervisor giving a choice between writing a letter of resignation and outright firing. And so little Stevie hates me again. And he can dine out for months on telling stories to his learned friends about how he tried to help me, and all I did was to be irreverent, ungrateful, and abusive. And little Stevie told me now that anything you say is utterly worthless. Perhaps the end of this story is yet to be written, but at this writing. It looks bleak, 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 bleak. Little Stevie is mad at me, and this time he may stay mad forever. And it's up to me to decide whether little Stevie must be mollified to please dozens of other wonderful, learned poets. Thank you.